What do we do about agriculture? You said we are encroaching a little more every year into natural areas to produce food. How do we then feed 10 billion people without taking more land from nature?
Today, a substantial amount of agriculture is actually crops we make to burn them to get energy, like different kinds of biofuels. It would be much more space efficient and sustainable if we just go straight from photovoltaics to batteries or hydrogen. We're like if you look at meat, for instance, a cow and a calf needs 2 acres of grassland, and they emit I believe it's 120 tons of CO2 when they belch. The methane in their belches is a substantial source of greenhouse gases. But it just so happens that the natural habitat for large herbivores like cows is what you call silvopasture, the combination of trees and grasslands. And you can have 120 trees on 2 acres of land. So by converting to silvopasture, you get happier and more productive cows. You increase biodiversity, and the trees, you need roughly 1 fully grown tree per ton of CO2 per year. So the trees will sequester the greenhouse gas emissions from the belches of the cows. So with these like very simple principles, well-proven principles, we just went through and applied existing methods and existing technologies to what we know the challenge is. And we came to the conclusion that we could actually shrink the footprint required to power and sustain one Earthling to fit comfortably within what we have available. So, and of course, you need to sort of scale these methods up. You have to look at it at different scales, at the individual scale, at the city scale. And of course, different cultures, different climates have different ways of implementing these principles. But the good news is we don't need to wait until we invent new technologies, because with existing technologies, even as simple as wind and solar, you can actually power and sustain 10 billion people with the quality of life of Singapore or Denmark. And you can have 10 billion people. So we don't have to sort of keep the third world suspended in some absence of growth or welfare. On the contrary, the more sophisticated an economy becomes, the more possible it is to power it in a sustainable way.
The question that pops up when one hears of something as sweeping as the Plan for the Planet is, how do we implement this? Who decides? How are trade-offs negotiated? Tell me, has the plan been tested anywhere in full or in parts?
We don't have any jurisdiction over Earth as planners. But we've had some great conversations. We're doing collaborations now with Maersk, the shipping company, helping them convert their ports into green growth hubs. They are committed to actually powering their fleet with biofuels, with methanol from a sustainable source. We're also working with Maersk on a project to use basically Maersk divested from oil. So now they're using the engineers that used to drill for oil to drill hot water from 2 kilometers of depth. So you can start powering and heating a city like Aarhus, the second city of Denmark, using the district heating grid and locally sourced hot water. So in that sense, we've gotten involved in very interesting, rather large-scale collaborations with some of these main actors. And one of the things, just to put it in perspective, Maersk as a company has a carbon footprint. It's one of the largest shipping companies on Earth. A fifth of all containers on Earth have the 7-pointed star on them. Maersk as a company has a carbon footprint twice the size of Denmark's. So if you can engage with Maersk to turn them carbon neutral, it's like taking Denmark off the map twice. So in that sense, even though the Plan for Planet started as an academic exercise, it has given us an overview and a clear sight that we didn't have before, and we've started aligning the projects we do in the company with the principles of the Plan for the Planet. So in that sense, it's already by understanding and seeing things more clearly, we have already started acting and making decisions differently.
Give me an example of acting and making decisions differently.
Like lately, you've seen that sort of timber construction has had a renaissance, and I think this is putting. We're designing the new airport of Zurich, which will be the biggest timber building on Earth. We're also actually building expanding the airport of Luxembourg, also a 90,000 square meter timber building. So that idea of, when we as architects can sort of prioritize unexpected materials, like they kind of, who would have thought that would be one of the sustainable materials of the future? And I also think at scale, timber construction is probably not the answer to everything, but it puts a little bit of pressure on the Holcims and the Cemexes in the world to accelerate their invention of low carbon concrete.